Psst. If anyone wants to win a Wales shirt courtesy of Shop Rugby for them and another person, then keep watching to the end of the video. Actually, just keep watching to the end of the video anyway. I don't know what I'm saying. But especially if you want to win a Wales shirt. Anyway, here's a video. It's easy to take a pop at Warren Gatland. He looks like a grandpa warthog, he innovates about as often as concrete, and he's seemingly dedicated his career to pissing off the Irish. There's a perception in rugby that Warren Gatland has outstayed his welcome, that he's yesterday's pork. And yet, for all the criticism he receives, his Wales team are currently third in the world rankings, his line record is the strongest of any coach in the professional era, and his Irish trolling has never once resorted to leprechaun memes. Over the last 17 years, a team coached by Gatland has entered 7 of the 9 major competitions in World Rugby, and over the last 17 years, a team coached by Gatland has won 6 of those 7 at least once. Ever since Alex Cuthbert thumped the Twickenham turf in disappointment, Gatland has thought of nothing other than winning the one trophy that's eluded him so far, the World Cup. Possibly literally, there's probably a reason his wife lives on the other side of the world. However, this cup hunt is built on 11 years of Gatland groundwork, bringing Welsh rugby, a brand that loves to live in the 70s, goal kicking and screaming, into the 21st century. And before we look at what he's doing now, it's worth looking at the work it took to get to this point. 2007, the year before Gatland took over, was one of the worst ever for Welsh rugby. Wales lost to Italy, had all kinds of things shoved up their arse by England, and then, due to a clerical error by the WRU, forgot to even enter the 2007 Rugby World Cup.
Time is up! That's it! A famous victory! And history is written in the Rugby World Cup of 2007. And the world's such a proud rugby nation. Go home disappointed.
Okay, that's just what I choose to believe. In fact, Wales were a shambles. A complete and utter shambles. Cue Gatland. What Warren Gatland did in 2008, and continues to do better than just about any coach in Test rugby, is to build a team culture. By this, I don't mean the Stuart Lancaster angle of making your players do team building exercises at a spa whilst guest speaker Nigel Farage spouts at them about how lucky they are to be English. What Gatland does is create a team of players who work hard. Whether they're working for him, for each other, for their families, for the 6-year-old version of themselves who watch Wales on the TV and I want to be part of that shit show. The important thing is that they work. And if you don't work, you don't fit in the team. Wales keep leaderboards for the players doing the most extra practice sessions. They incentivise players to do additional analysis. Early in his career, poster boy for the open mouth movement, Jonathan Davis, was, by his own admission, lazy. It wasn't until he started to top those leaderboards that Gatland started starting him. Gatland spread this attitude throughout pro rugby in Wales. Under his influence, academies became far more professional, fitness programmes at the regions became far more rigorous, and the behind-the-scenes structure was slowly streamlined to benefit the national team. It also spread into the team's tactics. Wales's game plan is built around their work ethic. Now, there are more think pieces out there explaining Wales's infamous Warren ball structure than there are either balls or people called Warren. So instead, I want to focus on the kicking strategy that Wales have employed under Gatland. When most teams kick tactically, they aim for the sideline, looking to put the ball out and force a line out. When Wales kick, they generally aim to keep the ball on the field. The idea is still to find space to hit grass, but by keeping it in, Wales make like Chucky and force the fullback to play. Then, ideally, because of their work ethic and fitness, Wales can get a full defensive line up in the fullback's face and force an error, be it a rushed kick, granting Wales a net gain in territory, be it catching a counter-attacker in possession and forcing a turnover. The idea is, it gives you a better shot of regaining the ball than a touch finder because the opposition don't have a chance to set. However, there have been a handful of notable examples of this backfiring on Wales, but it's almost always because someone failed to keep up with the team's work ethic. In the example I'm about to show you, it's this guy, Lou Reed. So, Wales kick long, Australia recycle 2 phases, and then get the ball wide where Reed is waiting for his man. He has a chance to make the tackle, but instead of sticking with him, a vicious step and there Harris goes. And though Reed runs, it's not enough. Beale cancels all tomorrow's parties and keeps at the end of the cycle of Australian wins over Wales. Gatland found a reason, and come Sunday morning, Reed's Wales career was good as over. Not such a perfect day. Incidentally, thank you to everyone that supported the channel on Patreon for helping me afford enough therapy to finally get over that try. Like James Hook when shaping to pass, Warren Gatland likes to keep things in his own hands. When his tactics fail, it's not because of a lack of skill, but because of a lack of effort. A player with the talent of Shane Williams or Gavin Henson is once in a generation, no matter what academy systems Gatland puts in place. A player with the work ethic, though, of Alan Wynne-Jones or Talupe Faletau can be created by a coach. But alongside the work ethic, Gatland has also looked to install a calmness in this Welsh team. As a nation known for male voice choirs and love spoons, it's fair to say the Welsh are capable of being an emotional lot. So come his first half-time team talk for Wales, 10 points down at Twickenham in a fixture they hadn't won for 22 years. Gatland didn't shout or scream or look to rev his team up at all. Instead, he calmly told them that they were still in the game. He suggested maybe force a few errors, Gatland felt, and the game is theirs. Wales were still in the game. They forced a few errors, and the game was theirs. It's a calmness in adversity that's typified Wales at their best over the last decade, and a mentality Gatland will be hoping holds heading into the World Cup he's so meticulously planning for. Managing an international side is very different to managing a club side. To demonstrate, let's imagine you're trying to build a Lego model of something hugely impressive, like, I don't know, Alan Wynne-Jones. With a club side, you can picture the model you want to build or the game plan you want to develop, and then go to the Lego website and order the bricks you need to build it. With an international team, you have to deal with the pieces you're given. They may be the wrong shape, the wrong colour, they may even be mega blocks, but you have to try and put together your game plan using the pieces your country gives you. There's a few different ways to tackle this problem. A perfect demonstration of one approach comes from rugby's Wozniak, Joe Schmidt. Under him, Leinster played rugby so fluid and free-flowing they were legally classified as a river. But his Ireland team were about as expansive as copper in a fridge. So why such a pronounced difference? In Smith's first season in charge of Ireland, there were clear attempts made to move the blue blueprints across, but with limited success. Because of how the international season works, Schmidt was trying to play precision rugby without the players he needed, or most importantly, the time it would take to prepare them to play the way he wanted them to. So he decided to change his approach entirely and build based on the blocks he was given. And hence, Ireland play a pressure game, not a passing game. Gatland took a different approach. Because he couldn't order the pieces directly, instead what he's done his entire reign is walk into Sainsbury's, buy whichever sets they happen to have on offer, then get home, tip them out over the floor, and begin to scavenge for bricks he can use. Even if that means discarding dozens more, this also includes finding new uses for pieces not demonstrated by the instructions. Can't find the blue brick you need to play a game built on a crash ball centre? Why not take that chunky young fullback in the Cardiff team and convert him into a 12? Your only number 8's more of a workhorse than a charging stallion? Why not pick wingers the size of Puff Call in order to help with the carrying? But equally, if one of those sets has an absolute beauty of a block, he's not afraid to compromise his vision and find a way of using it. Getting Shane Williams into space was his side's entire game plan for years, and all three back rowers positioning changes when Tipuric makes the team. However, despite his work, in the build-up to the last World Cup, Gatland found himself in such a big mess you'd think it's my Lego metaphor. Having just about found all the bricks he needed to make the model, he then found them all quickly struck off, as Wales suffered so many injuries. Even Ward 4 of Cardiff Hospital was filled with Chunky Valley meat men. Wales had been relying on the same roughly 20 players for the last 4 years, and roughly 26 of them were injured, leaving Gatland with so few options. He had to start a centre in a World Cup quarter-final who was so young, just months early he'd missed a morning's training to go and pick up his A-level results. Wales has one of the smallest populations and playing pools of any team in the World Cup, which has historically meant the team has the depth of a thin crust Kardashian. For all the talk of rugby being a religion in Wales, the country's only religion in the same way Israel Folau is. It's a way to justify their worst habits. For Folau, that's being a bigoted, hateful, small-minded twat. For Wales, that's day drinking and pessimism. Wales has always produced good rugby players, but rarely enough of them to be genuinely successful. In an effort to make sure this never happens again, Gatland has spent the last few years desperately trying to build depth. In the past, Gatland has looked to do this by using his spare bricks, the fringe players, to build a totally separate model that would only be seen in a depressing Friday night fixture against Fiji. However, the last 2 years he's regularly substituted these extra bricks into his model just to see if they can hold the weight of the thing, should anything happen. In 2017, with Gatland on Lion sabbatical and Rob Howley in charge, Wales used just 26 players in the whole Six Nations campaign. In 2018, Gatland used 38, giving plenty of players a chance to impress in the first team and show they're up to the task of staying there. And this year, it looks to have finally paid off. A Wales team with only 2 players who this time last year would have been considered first choice beat South Africa and Argentina twice this summer. Now, neither win over Argentina was a comprehensive runaway trifest, but in both, Wales had less possession than whatever type of big cat the opposition was calling themselves that day, and yet managed to win by multiple scores. This young team will have learned more from having to defend for long stretches than they would have by running away with the game attached to Cubby Boy's tail. These games are about getting a team ready and used to playing test match rugby, and defending wave after 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 wave of attack against a side trying to batter down your door like Hagrid with a grievance is a big part of Test match rugby. In fact, the most impressive thing about those wins was how simply Wales put Argentina away. Wales looked alarmingly competent. They took points every time they were on offer, with Patrick seemingly able to hit penalties from anywhere in South America, and the side utilising each overlap. Because this Wales team works in both senses of the word. Efficiency is born out of practice, and Gatland is a man who makes his side practice. He's built a team culture that's now spreading for a young side, and this autumn, Gatland will continue to build. Because Gatland has one thing in his sights, and right now, things are going according to his plan. And if things continue on this path, then this time next year, it might not be so easy to take a pop at Warren Gatland. Every year, thousands of rugby fans are affected by a condition known as not having an up-to-date Wales shirt. It's a condition that causes huge quantities of very mild embarrassment. And as a man who has suffered from this himself, I want to be the person to bring an end to it. So that's why I, the man who pops up at the end of the Squidge Rugby videos, have teamed up with Shop Rugby to bring an end to this condition, at least for 2 of you. And we want to give you the chance to win 2 Wales jerseys, one for you and one for your matchday mates. That might be a friend, a relative, a kidnap victim you're particularly fond of. It could be your one true love if you're, because they're both male jerseys, so maybe Israel Folau if you want to enter. Maybe David Pocock, if you're watching this, you'd probably just give them both to like homeless people you saw on the street. Whatever it is, we want to give you the chance for both of you to win that jersey. All you've got to do is head to, there's a link in the description below, Shop Rugby's Twitter, and send us your favourite Warren Gatland story, memory, whatever it is, whatever the moment which you thought, this Warren guy's alright, was, send that to Shop Rugby and we'll pick one and they will win 2 Wales jerseys. The competition closes on November the 20th, so you've got until then. Otherwise, if you do want to get one beyond that, then you can always head to their shop and buy one there. Or, if you want other high-end rugby merchandise, why not head to Rugby Warfare? SQ20, offer code 20% off at the checkout. Perfect, spot on. Also, want to say thank you as well to Rugby Warfare for sponsoring the channel. Thank you to everyone that supported the channel on Patreon. I really do appreciate it. I appreciate all of you in a unique and beautiful, individualistic way, to the point which I can't even get my words out. And again, thank you to everyone that has continued to like, subscribe, etc. to the channel. I really do appreciate it.